Light the beam, because it's time for Nerdy for 30, the podcast where we talk about nerdy-ish movies for 30-ish minutes. My name is Kevin Bauer, a.k.a. the Critic's Choice. With me, as always, is the People's Champ, Tim Keck.
Yeah, buddy.
And we are joined today by a very special guest. This is, of course, the summer of X-Men. We're talking through all the X-Men movies before Deadpool and Wolverine comes out at the end of this week. Joining us is somebody we should have had on the pod a lot sooner. It's our pal and yours, AARON Nemo. Nemo, thanks for being on, man.
Hey, I'll say, how many people before me would you say?
Not a lot. It's usually just me and Kevin.
Yeah.
Well, what, 20, 40?
Gosh, maybe 12.
There's only been 12 guests.
I think so.
Maybe,
it's
honestly,
not a lot.
yeah, 12 feels right.
That's actually not that. I'm okay with being a top 15 friend for anybody.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Yeah,
I think.
you're not in the MySpace top 8, but you're on their mind.
Well, you could, at a certain point, you could do like top 24, and that was like still barely, it was kind of a compliment, but also just like the back half, you're just filling it in.
Jesus, the amount of compromise that went into MySpace expanding top 8 to top 24, that was a decision made by a committee.
Absolutely. A committee of 24 people. And then obviously, like, they were taking each other off of the friends lists because that meeting was so tense, and it was probably Tom was probably there.
Oh yeah. Oh, Tom.
Yeah, Tom's bumping people from his top 8 after that meeting. It's real power play. Re-rank them all after every meeting.
You know what? We haven't ranked the X-Men movies yet, but maybe we'll do that too. We'll do at the end of this entire process, we'll do a top 8 of the X-Men movies, of which I think there's like 14. But speaking of the X-Men movies today, we are talking Deadpool 2. Let's dive right into it. Nemo, what's your one sentence take on Deadpool 2?
All right, you ready? I did write it down, so I'm going to read it from my Google Doc.
Hit it.
Here it is. Quick take. Totally fun blockbuster sequel that keeps things fresh with new themes. Contains jokes, comma, still a sentence. Contains jokes that I would have been obsessed with as a teenager.
I dig that.
Still, I like a lot of the jokes, but I just know how obsessed I would have been as a teenager and like quoting these instead of developing a personality and saying them in school and teachers not really knowing what you're talking about. This would have been an absolute, like, a cherished film for me.
This could have been our Borat.
100% could have been a super bad Borat, Napoleon Dynamite level kind of thing.
Yeah. That's accurate.
Tim, what do you got?
This is everything I want from a movie. That's my sentence. It's not like perfect exactly, but it's funny. There's like laugh out loud good bits in this. The action is top tier. There's like a romance in it that I'm kind of into. They shove like an electric like cable up the Juggernaut's butt and push him into a pool. Like, this is covering everything. And also at this point, they're just quoting lines from other superhero movies, and we're all on the same page. We all get it. We've all seen them a bunch, and it crushes. It's just a good time. I was so excited to watch this. I'm excited to watch it again whenever that happens. This is great. This is just a fun movie. And I'm all about it. Kevin,
Dude,
do you think this is, what do you think?
I got to tell you, I'm right there with you. My one sentence synopsis was, finally someone has fun with the X-Men franchise. I think this is the first time in one of these movies that somebody's fully taken the trauma gloves off and just had a blast with all these characters.
100%. This is just fun. They're having a good time. It's like, you're right. Like, the training wheels are off, and I like the first Deadpool, but this one is like so much better. And that's not even a slight to the first one. This is just a perfect sequel. And like, they have a bigger budget and you see it on the screen. They're like pushing the envelope. They know what people want and they just present it in a better way. You know, they're realizing, I think, the movement from referencing other superhero movies to just incorporating lines from those other movies is interesting. And I think it's like the kind of thing that they picked up on from the first movie, like, oh, people like this stuff. We don't need to hand it to them even as much as we did in the first one. We can just incorporate stuff and be spitballing. And the jokes are just constant in this. I mean, the last, like, the whole movie's great, but like the last hour of the movie is just like killer. It's like, it's awesome. The action's awesome. The jokes are great. And just, man, this is all. I love this movie. This might be my favorite. It's got to be one of my favorite superhero movies, I think, like, without a doubt. It's up there. I didn't realize this until I'm saying it right now, but it is like, it's definitely up there, man. Like, what's better than this? Nothing.
It's hard. It's hard for there to be. It's also hard to like compare this to a genuine, like, serious, honest superhero movie that's not a comedy, because they're playing in a different ballpark. They're getting to like shit on the deficiencies of a superhero movie and the leaps you have to make, logical leaps and everything. But yeah, I mean, it's just gotta be one of the most fun, because that's like probably their mission statement is like, let's have like a little bit of heart in here and let's just go fuck into Joke Town and have like a joke every 7 seconds, even when something traumatic has just happened. There's nothing is safe, nothing is holy. They're probably doing their best to like make fun of the X-Men franchise. They're making fun of Deadpool. It's incredible. I still think there's probably a couple of superhero movies that I saw when I was younger, and I was like, ooh, yes. I like this movie. This is one of my favorite movies ever. But yeah, I mean, Deadpool 2 is truly just sit there, have a good time. And I remember seeing it. I just watched it again at home. Seeing it in the theaters was a different level of fun, because everybody's there. Everybody's has accepted that this is what we're going to be laughing at. And people are just having such a blast, and you get that group mentality, and it's the best.
Yeah, it rocks. Yes. And speaking of, I had forgotten about this, but hearing you talk about how there are some superhero movies that you liked more, I forgot you saw Avengers Endgame when it premiered in Italy.
Yeah. I saw it in this like really old theater in Florence. And I mean, everybody was so pumped to just see what happens in this story. And it was quite an interesting mix of people. Like it was in English. It had Italian subtitles. And it was packed out. People were pumped. I had like some kind of weird, it was the worst popcorn ever. It's some Italian popcorn that I had, which was awful. And I went and I took a pee in the middle, and I didn't realize this, but there was an intermission. So I just like snuck off to the bathroom. I'm like, I'm going to get a quick pee break. It's like a 3-hour something movie. And then I come out of the bathroom, and there's a line of like 40 people for no reason. I had no idea that there was an intermission. I was just looking outside of this bathroom, which there was no line for. I took a 1-minute pee, and there's 40 people that I thought were there to kill me. But that's a good time. I would watch Deadpool 2 in any country.
Yeah.
I mean,
if we're ranking the countries to watch Deadpool 2 in, Italy, number 1.
Italy, number 2. North Korea, for some reason, number 1 for me.
Definitely up there, North Korea, for sure.
Damn.
I don't know if I have it at number 1, but it's up there. Top 8 for sure.
Oh my God. If you are out there listening to this pod and you want to bring Nerdy for 30 to North Korea to watch Deadpool 2, tweet us. We're not on Twitter, but send us some tweets. We'll get this going.
Neither are North Koreans.
Yeah. We're on X.
Yeah,
exactly.
Feels like North Korea could do X. Feels like that might be allowed there. Elon, there's got to be a little bit of overlap with Kim Jong.
They're definitely making Cybertrucks in North Korea. I think that's something that I feel very comfortable just stating as a fact on this podcast.
Yeah, that's actually true. In terms of the humor in this movie, like what you mentioned with like this would have been your favorite movie when you were in like high school, Nemo. We talked a little bit about on the first Deadpool episode we did about how like this obviously like Ryan Reynolds has such a specific tone to his humor. And I feel like in general, a lot of the humor that falls under that same banner can rub people the wrong way. But it's fascinating to me that the Deadpool movies seem to transcend that, because I think it is the absolute highest caliber version of that sense of humor possible. So it breaks through. Like the analogy I made on the last episode was like, if there's like a type of food you don't normally like if you don't normally like pad thai, but one of the greatest chefs in the world makes you a pad thai, you're probably going to like it. There's probably going to be something there just because the mastery that went into it is there. And it's been interesting watching the disparity between that first movie, where they seemed like they were testing the waters with whether or not this sense of humor would work with a mainstream audience, and this one where they're so much more confident with it. The one that really stood out for me here with that was there's a joke where Colossus has Deadpool pinned up against the wall in the X-Mansion, and he's giving him a monologue about like, you shouldn't have to make everything this hard, but Wade, you always make things hard. And nobody actually says anything, but it just cuts to Deadpool's face, and Ryan Reynolds just looks at the audience and then looks back, and like, they understand that it's working. They understand that people are with them, and they're just sailing.
One of the first things in the movie is like a Deadpool just like look to camera when he's in the taxi talking about Kirsten Dunst. He's just like listening to the Bender monologue about this, and it just like turns to the audience. And I remember that crushing in the audience. I remember that crushing in the theater, and it's like, okay, we're here right away. They're into it. This movie gets into it so quick. Nemo, what were you going to say?
Oh, well,
beefing on this.
Now what I want to say is one of my like. It would be fun to watch this movie and try to keep like a list of like, what are your like top 10 favorite jokes from this? One of my, I think top 10 jokes is kind of a throwaway where he's talking about Kirsten Dunst and he goes, Kristen? And because I was like, that's something I do on a regular basis. I really, really liked that he didn't know. But yeah, I think it's so good when they play with the breaking the fourth wall meta thing that they do so much. It actually, because I watched Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2, and at times I was kind of like, all right, they're doing it again. But then when they kind of break the mold a little bit, and he'll turn, but I think because he's getting like choked out so hard he can't say anything, and he's like, you get it. And it like when they keep building on it, I really, really like it. And I think there's I mean, it's just relentless. The meta self-references, breaking the fourth wall. It's like, they do a lot of ballsy things in the movie. They do things that I wonder if there were like people that were like, oh, you can't do that. Not even because they're like offensive. Like I really was never, people don't really get offended by nobody that goes to or chooses to watch Deadpool should be getting offended by Deadpool, but I don't think it's really the main thing. I just think like, basically, I don't know. I've done a long enough sentence that I feel like I'm just going to stop now.
Well said.
Well said, dude.
Thanks, man.
There's a couple of things in here where like they do take it to the point where like the entire concept of this as a movie can get worn almost threadbare. Like they wink to the audience to the extent where there are multiple jokes about the fact that he is Ryan Reynolds, and we all know that he is Ryan Reynolds. And if you don't do that right, it can just destroy the illusion for the whole thing. But something about the way they have it crafted with this character really works. Obviously, there's the one at the end where he's going through the timelines and he shoots Ryan Reynolds when he's about to read the Green Lantern script. There's the one where TJ Miller insults Canada and Deadpool gets offended. But my favorite one is there's a part where he gets thrown into that like evil school, and there's a kid up there, and he has a moment where he talks with the kid, and then he picks something up and signs it. And just like a couple jokes in one where it's a Wheaties box, but Hugh Jackman or Wolverine is on the Wheaties box, but then he autographed it as Ryan Reynolds and jumped back out the window. And it's like, God, it's just fucking charming. Like so much of this, I think, relies on like Ryan Reynolds' ability to play this exactly perfect. It is such a tightrope walk, and he's playing it in such a way where it's like he's locked in. He knows it. Like he as a comedic actor is like he's as good as anybody. Yeah,
I think he really is. I remember TJ Miller talking about how funny he is, and he's just like, I can't keep up with Ryan Reynolds. You know, like he's just so quick, and to be that hot and that talented is just we've got to find his weakness. I'm sure like maybe he can't swim. or his singing voice is terrible or something like that. We've got to find out what he's bad at, because no way God gives somebody that many skill points. just pumps up charisma and looks. Do y'all have any like beefs with this movie? Because I have one I noticed this time. Just real plotty, I guess. Vanessa is killed. And I do like in these movies, I think it is pretty obvious that like when he is dealing with Vanessa, he takes that relationship very seriously. And everything else is joked about. And he makes jokes with Vanessa, but he never jokes like about Vanessa. Vanessa is like the one thing he's taking seriously. And I feel like that's enough to kind of like drive these serious points home. She dies. Then he goes to the bar and they say he's been at the bar for 3 days. Then he blows himself up. Maybe that takes a day. Colossus takes him to the X Mansion. He's like, you've been sleeping for 3 days. And they're all like, get over it already. And it's been less than a week. And everyone is like, dude, get over Vanessa. You got to move on. They're practically setting him up on other dates. Like, it's the way the way the story just moves past it so quickly is funny. And I don't like, why didn't they make that a longer period of time? I feel like it easily could have been, but they don't. Maybe that's just how flippant the story is, or they're trying to have Deadpool be that broken from this experience, but rubbed me as weird this time.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah.
The crowd is,
they at least could have stretched out the period of time, because he says that he went through and he hunted down everybody that was involved in her death. So they at least could have stretched that out to maybe be like a year, like even a year. I mean, like she's such a comedically like perfect match for him. Like, I don't mean in terms of their sense of humor. I mean, it's like, it's ridiculous the extent to which they go out of their way to make her the absolute perfect match for Wade. So there's no way you're going to get over that person in even a year. I mean, maybe that's the reason they didn't do it. It would take this guy fucking 40 years to move on. It'd be a 70-year-old Deadpool.
Yeah, she is perfect for him. They have great chemistry. It's great. There's some joke in there where it's like, okay, we're gonna try to have a baby. Vanessa get the strap on, and she's like, not sure that's how it works, but we can try. And it's just like very supportive. And I just thought like her delivery on that was so good. And there's so many lines like that where it's just like, gosh, the delivery kills me. I think my favorite joke, you guys are rattling off jokes, the X-Force thing is like my biggest thief in this thing. It's so good. My favorite throwaway joke is like to quote Beyonce, please stop cheating on me. That's great. That's a great throwaway line.
Really good. Really good. And I don't know if people will appreciate that as much as people who saw it when it came out will appreciate it. Because that was like the thing that was happening with them.
It just felt so timely.
I wonder, it's got to be so nice that he's got a mask on for 90% of these jokes, because if something big happens, they can just ADR that in. Like, they can make this thing shockingly topical retrospectively or retroactively.
They should just punch it up every few years.
Yeah.
Yeah. They should release a weekly movie, just different jokes every week.
That's all I'm using AI for. It's just more Deadpool movies.
Do you have any beefs or any thieves? I guess X-Force. Do you guys want to talk about the X-Force scene? Because I think it's so good. It's such an incredible chunk. And it does kind of lead into the part that I feel like we got more of in this movie, where it is like they give you a lot. If you're a Deadpool fan, or like specifically a comic book fan, there's way more Easter eggs in this one, I feel like. And the X-Force stuff is a pretty good example of that. They're making all these jokes about like, this author who hated Domino and can't draw feet, like that's a whole like thing Googled online.
I just have to stop it and figure out what this is, because I didn't know what that was about. And then I looked it up and I go, that makes sense.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Nice. And then I saw some of his drawings of like shoes and feet, and I was like, he got better. I think he actually kind of figured out how to draw feet.
He figured it out. He got torsos eventually. Just a weird dude. But that X-Force. I also think like the first time the X-Force thing happened and everybody died, that was so jarring. And again, destroyed in the theater, like absolutely crushed. That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I think the first time I saw it, just all these people immediately dying, something with like the, oh man, what's it? The Vanisher, like maybe the wind can't carry what it can't see or something like that. They just got all these great lines about these dude. And then he goes back in time and saves Paul or whatever that dude's name was. It was pretty great.
Oh yeah.
You have any other
Rob something from Twitter?
Rob Delaney.
Rob Delaney.
Yeah,
saves Peter.
He's amazing in it by doing so little. Like exactly what the role called for was him to just be a very regular man.
It rules. Again, I knew exactly how to play it. I thought Zazie Beetz is amazing in this.
Yeah, she's great.
The whole concept, I remember people having basically the same conversation that he riffs in this movie about like, what's luck going to do? How do you make luck look interesting on screen? And the way that they do everything and the way that she plays it so confident, it's a blast. It's so cool to see her interacting with him and to have somebody be that kind of a foil with Deadpool. I really hope that she is in Deadpool and Wolverine in some capacity because I really like her.
I found Domino to be the only character I can compare Domino to is Mr. Magoo. Like it's kind of the same superpower. Is just it's all gonna work out. Just go for it. You can trust fate has your back. They're very different characters, but they're both super.
Dude, enter the Magooniverse. I would love to see somebody do something. If we can get a gritty Magoo reboot.
In the MC Goo.
MC Goo. Yeah, we need a real gritty. We need Josh Brolin to play Mr. Magoo.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. That actually leads me into a small beef I had is I don't think you should be able to be two characters in the same universe.
This is kind of an asterisk though, because I think when this movie happened, had Disney bought Fox yet? I don't think they had. I think the deal was still kind of pending, right?
Yeah, this was still Sony.
But it's still they share a universe. It's a collective Marvel universe, or no?
No, the MCU is like its own specific thing. And even at this movie, I think opens with in association with Marvel.
Yeah.
At the beginning. And Stan Lee's a producer, so it is very blurry, but it's technically not a part of the MCU. And kind of the excitement about Deadpool 3, Deadpool and Wolverine, is that this is him finally joining the MCU and these worlds finally mixing, which is exciting for nerdy fans of it, I guess. But I think to the general public, they're like, oh, but this has been happening the whole time, right? Like these are all the same. I'm always surprised how many people are just like, yes, all of any superhero movie is in the same place. Blade is there with Thor and whatever. And why isn't Spider-Man Tobey Maguire at Endgame? It's very confusing. But yeah, I think these were separate properties at the time. But you're right. Even you're going to be in two of the biggest superhero movies of all time, and he gets to play two different characters. Seems crazy. He crushes it in both. He crushes it as Cable, but there's no one else. There's no one else you can pick up the phone and give him a call for. I don't know. He's great though.
He's so good. I think he's amazing as Cable. I really like. I like how quickly we find out that Cable has like, a reason to be evil and is I 100% am killing the kid. I go back in time and I'm immediately killing the kid the first chance I have. And that's not something I ever want clipped from this podcast and put elsewhere, please.
Speaking of things you might not want to clip from this podcast, and if you don't, I can edit this right out. You just give me the thumbs up. Are you comfortable talking about your video game right now?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's such a bad video game and very simple, but it's the whole premise is just you're Hitler's nanny and you are kind of confused that all these people are coming back in time with different time traveling technology to kill the baby you're watching. And you basically, it's a very short game because I couldn't make it long because I don't know how. And it took me so long to make it, but yeah, it's a pretty good time. You're Brunhilde, the nanny, and she figures out that she like kind of has been taken down some of these time traveling people, and she gets all of their technology and she's trying to use it for her own crush that she has on this one guy. It's it could be like MCU. Like, I think it could work. Like, a lot of those movies are basically about Hitler and World War II and Nazis. So this could be another.
Just another in the Hitler verse.
I didn't make the connection that until like partway through this movie of like, oh my God, it's kind of similar, because like just like this and like the movie Looper, it's like, instinctually we're presented with this kid. He's a kid. We see him as a kid and we see that somebody's trying to gun him down. So everything in our biology as human beings is like, we got to protect this kid, but we don't know what this kid does. So it's like, maybe Cable's right. Maybe this whole movie's fucked up.
There is also a thing where it's like going back to kill Hitler. It's like, well, you can go back to when he's a baby and kill him. Like, everyone going back is trying to find this person at like the easiest to kill, not the noblest to kill.
Sure.
Like at some point that there has to be an intersection of that where you get like, Hitler in his early 20s and like he's been boxing and like he's in good shape, but like you're pretty sure but you've had time to train, and you come armed and like you're pretty confident you could take him, maybe that's the nobler Hitler killing route. Like, but he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that with Fire Fist. He gets him when he's a kid, doesn't even know how to use his powers. That's when Cable's like, yes, got to take out my nemesis, this 18-year-old boy. Instead of, going after a guy in his 30s or trying to kill this guy before he gets to his family or whatever it is. It's funny how everyone immediately goes to kids.
Yeah. There's no honor in this. I think that's one of my biggest thieves in this, is that this is basically went the Terminator route. Like,
there's no honor.
This is just an evil future assassin who has come back to kill a kid. And there we go. Well, I guess in the first Terminator, he's just trying to kill Sarah Connor, but still.
So he has this teddy bear, and the teddy bear's from the future. And while the kid is angry, the teddy bear is ashy, right? It's like burnt up. And then when they save the kid, it's clean again. So can he just like keep that on his nightstand and just like see what's up with the bear and be like, like a president gets elected and then the bear turns to like ash again. And he's like, oh shit, I go brush off the gun and see if I can fix this timeline thing, Yes.
I like it.
So there will be 2 teddy bears in the universe at some point. That bear exists. Wait, no, hold on.
Same bear.
Let me figure this out. Same bear, but he goes back in time and the bear stays in the past. Mm-hmm. So that bear will exist and that bear will be created.
Yeah. It's
by
a bootstrap
whoever made
paradox.
It.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe somebody sees the bear and they're like, this is a great bear. They can't find a copyright or a patent on a bear like that. They start making it. That turns out to be the brand of bear the Cable's son has in the future. There you go.
Because there's no way that they are mass manufacturing these bears.
No way.
All toys are one of a kind, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like the 1800s. If you have a toy, it's like straight up Kris Kringle shit. If you have a toy, it's the only version of that toy that exists.
Correct.
I have a question for you guys. We're getting close to the end, but I thought this might be a fun one. So, Cable's time travel device let him pick what year to visit by showing little clips of current events from the different years. If you remember, he's turning the dial. It shows Ronald Reagan. It shows, I think, like the X-Jet at one point. Deadpool 2 came out in 2018. What current events would you show to get someone back to 2018 if they're using a time travel watch?
Well, obviously, I'm going to show Harambe getting killed.
Oh my God, was that 2018?
I don't actually know.
2016.
That be Broomhilda's like next mission
God.
Is she takes out like the sniper, because then they shot Harambe. She could just show up and just start blasting everyone who tries to kill Harambe. You just do the sequel is Broomhilda protecting Harambe, and people keep coming to go after him.
Dude, I think you have to make that game.
Absolutely. Harambe's Nanny coming soon as I finish the first one, which I don't plan to.
They've got to be available somewhere.
Yeah, I was just thinking based on the movie, the Jay-Z elevator footage that like Solange and Jay-Z footage. And that's seared into my brain. I remember it exactly.
2018. I don't even know what happened.
I truly couldn't tell you the difference between 2015 and 2019 in any years in between. You got, I'd probably show some from the 2018 midterm election cycle, which
love it.
I think AOC was elected.
Pretty good one. For getting elected.
Black Panther came out.
Oh,
okay.
That'd be good.
Okay.
I think there was a Winter Olympics that year. Was that the one where the guy had double barrel pink eye?
Yeah, Costas.
Yeah.
Costas out there looking like Cyclops with those red eyes.
That's got to be it. That's got to be it.
Kendrick Lamar won a Pulitzer?
That's in there.
Oh, my.
That's in there for sure. Oh, my God. Insane.
Is the video him holding the Pulitzer up to the camera? Like him?
It should be.
And then he has to say out loud, I got a Pulitzer, because we don't really know what they look like.
Yeah. I could.
You have to explain what it is.
Dude, I could walk right past a Pulitzer at a yard sale. Have no idea. No idea.
The Royal Wedding, Crazy Rich Asians, This Is America, Childish Gambino's video.
Oh, that one would be in there. God damn.
Banksy sold that work for 1.4 million and then it shredded itself. You remember that? That was cool.
That feels like it was fucking yesterday. God damn.
It does. Man.
2018 had more than I realized. And I think this episode did too. I can't believe we're at the end of it. Nemo, thank you so much for joining. Do you have anything you want to plug? You are right about to go to Fringe, or in Fringe right now, right? This is releasing on July 27th?
Yes. Thank you guys for having me. I will be in Scotland doing a show called Shitty Mozart for 27 days, July 31st to August 26th. If you hear this, come to it from wherever you are. I hear it's really hard to get people to come see your show there. And a little bit worried about just having to do it 27 times in a row to 4 people. So come to it, please. Tell your friends who live in, all your Scottish friends, and just help me.
To all of our Scottish listeners.
To all of our Scottish listeners, get in there. Get off your Scotch asses. Go see Shitty Mozart.
Thank
you so much for joining us. Thank you so much to everybody for listening to this episode. We'll be back here next Tuesday with an early reaction to Deadpool. Early-ish. I mean, it'll have been out for like 4 days, but go see it this weekend. This is the event of the summer. We will see you then, and until then, stay nerdy, everybody.
Stay nerdy.
Bye.
Bye.